guys, welcome to another video here. Once again, I'm gonna be doing half of the problems for you. Um, I will say that doing circles, it's pretty difficult. It is a lesson, or these are the type of lessons that are very difficult. That most students have trouble in geometry A dealing with this because they're not sure what to do, and I get it. It is difficult. So I will be doing half of those problems for you. So at least you should get 50%, and then the other half, I encourage that you try those problems and give them a try, see if you can do them. Okay? So here's what I need you to understand is that we need this formula sheet. I'm gonna, on the homework assignment or this page right here that you are at, you have an assignment and then you have a formula sheet. That formula sheet is honestly all that you need for doing the circles wrong. So if I open that up, that's what I'm gonna be using as well. Okay, it's this portion right here where it says properties of circles. I'm gonna be using that right there. Today we're gonna be using not just this part, not just the angles, but this right here. Okay, so we're gonna be using the other formulas as well in order to solve this. Okay, so when I do this, guys, first of all, you have to use as much logic as possible. Okay, if you don't use logic, then this is not gonna make sense much. Okay, you have to be able to apply logic in every single one of those rounds that you use. Okay, so in here we have an inscribed angle, we have a tangent and a chord, we have two chords, we have tangent and a secant, two secants, and two tangents. We need to be able to identify what we have. Okay, so when I look at this problem right here, they're asking me to do some angles right there. In here, okay, they're asking me to find this question mark right there. Okay, how do I do that? Well, there's different ways that you're gonna approach this. First, you have to understand that from here to here, the whole thing right here, that is a half circle. So a half circle, everything will be 180. So if I'm able to get this portion right here, from here all the way to there, then I'll just have to subtract 180 minus whatever I get there, and I'll get this right here. Okay, so again, all I did there was apply logic. Okay, the formula says, okay, and the formula is more difficult than it really is. Or sometimes it just doesn't make sense, but this, okay, is half of that right there. So I want to get this right here. If this is 56, all I have to do, guys, is multiply times 2. Okay, that is exactly how I see the formula. The formula is like this. Okay, yes. Okay, that is the formula. But the formula is also this right here. This is how I see it. Okay, where n is 2 times as that. So if I multiply this times 2, I just get 56 times 2, that gives me 112. Well, if this is 112, it's very simple to get the answer right there. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the homework so that I know that I got the right answers for you. Okay, very good. So I know that that's 112. So if I want to get this portion right here, all I have to do is subtract 180, because that's a half a circle, minus 112. Okay, that just makes sense to me logically, and that's how you have to see it. You have to do this logically. Don't overthink about this. And you get 68. Same idea with this. We're gonna do the same thing. This right here is half a circle right there. Okay, what is this right here? Okay, the whole thing is 180. How do I get that? Okay, 180 minus 68 will give you this right here. And then you just divide by 2 to get that question mark. Okay, so I'll let you finish that one. Alright, here's where it gets a little bit more challenging. Okay, well on this one it's actually easy, just because, well, of the fact that we're really not applying any formulas here. All we're doing is using the fact that the full circle is 360. So I have 2x plus 146. I'm gonna do this fun thing where I just pile them up together. And then 140. And then I'm gonna add all those together. So 146 plus 74 plus 140. Oh, that actually equals 360. And then 2x plus 2x is 4x. And all of that, remember guys, that all of that is gonna add up to 360. When I subtract 360 on both sides, I get that x is equal to 0. Okay? But remember guys, that is not the answer. Why? Because you have to see what they're asking you here. They're asking you to find the measurement of ST, where ST is right there. That's ST right there. So how do I find that? Well, all I have to do, guys, is plug in that 0 in there. So 2 times 0 plus 74 should give you the answer that you want. So the final answer on this round will be 74. That is the measurement of the arc ST. Okay, you will be doing number 4 as well. Okay, for number 4, what you need to understand is that this is half of a circle, and from here to here is 180, and this right here is twice as that, and this right here, oh, hold on. So I'm sorry, this right here is twice as that, but then this right here is also twice as that. Okay, so 2 times, I'm just gonna set it up for you, 53x minus 1 should equal 2 times 52x. Okay, you solve that and then you find the answer. Remember, they're asking you to find mn, so think about that first. Okay, all right, let's do number 5 here. It says find the measurement of the arc, okay, or the angle indicated. Well, for this round, once again, I'm gonna take a look at that formula sheet because I'm not sure which one to use, but I do know that I have to use my formula sheet in order to find that question mark right there. The first thing you need to understand is that most of the formulas actually look very similar to each other. So if you take a look at this right here, I'm gonna look for something that looks like that. Okay, I feel like those two are 2 secants, and then our formula is given to us right there. So our formula is the following: x is equal to half of m minus n. After you start doing this so much, you start memorizing them, you know that this is for x, this is my my n, and this is my n. Let me verify that really quick. So the m is outside, the n is inside. Okay, very good. The x is a question mark. That is what we're looking for. The m in this case is 170 minus the n, which is 72. We're going to be using our calculator here now. And we're going to do 170 minus 72. 98 divided by 2 is 49. Okay, and I'm verifying here that is definitely the answer that you want to put on Canvas. Alright, so let's move on. Now we're going to talk about segments. This is going to change a little bit, and it's going to become a lot more difficult. So pay attention, please. Number 7. We're not using the formulas that we're used to anymore. We're going to be using a different formula because now we're dealing with segments. So we're dealing with the formulas that are on top now. Okay, this one's right here. Alright, so we have to first identify which formula do I need to use. Okay, so which formula is the one that I have to use? So for this one, when I look at my computer here, it seems that we have two secants. And we have to identify what's the A, what's the B, what's the C, and what's the D. Okay, so here is my formula right there. I'm going to write it down here. So it's B times A plus B is equal to D C plus D. Alright, so what is it that we have here? First, identify what you have. So if you go back to the formula, A is with B and C is with D. So A, B, C, and D. Okay, that is your formula. The A, the B in this case is 7. The A in this case will be X. And the B, once again, is 7. The D in this case is 8. The C in this case is 6. And the D in this case is 8. Okay, let's simplify that as much as possible. We have 7x, okay, and then we have 7 times 7, which is 49. Okay, let's add the 6 plus the 8, that gives you 14 times 8, that's going to give you 112. Let's subtract 49 on both sides. We get 7x is equal to 63. When I divide by 7, I'm going to get x is equal to 9 as your final answer. So this right here will be a 9. Okay, that one wasn't that hard. For number 8, you're going to be using a very similar formula. If you take a look at the formula sheet here, that's the one you're going to be using. This right here, this formula. So identify what the A is and what the B is, and identify what the C and the CD and the C and the D is, and then plug it into the formula and go ahead and solve. It's not too complicated, guys, not too complicated. Let's move on. I'll have you guys do number 8. Make sure you guys get the right formula, please. Alright, this one, number 9, identify what you have. Okay, So when I look at the formula sheet, and I'm gonna look over here on my other computer, I can see that that's a tangent and a secant. The formula for that is a squared is equal to b and b plus c. I'm not asking you guys to memorize any of these formulas. That is not the point of any of this. The point is that you understand how to identify which formula to use and use it, okay? So when I look at this problem, I want to look for the one that looks like that. So if I take a look, okay, I can see that this one looks very similar to that, and that's why I'm using this formula right here. Okay, that is the formula that I'm gonna be using in this problem. A squared is equal to b, parenthesis, b plus c. Okay, go back to my formula here. What is the a? Well, the a seems to be the one by itself. So this is the a. And then inside is the c and the b. C and then b. So the a in this case is 18 squared. The b is 12. The b continues to be 12. And then c is going to be x. And all we're doing is figuring out what x is. Okay, so 18 times 18, that's 18 squared, is 324. Then we get 144 plus 12x. So 324 minus 144 is 180 divided by 12. X is supposed to be 15. Okay, that is your answer for number 9. You're going to be using the same formula for number 10. Okay, identify what you have. This is the A, this is the C, and this is the B. Okay, plug it in into the formula and figure that one out. Number 11, let's see what I have here. Okay, it seems to me that I have two chords. Number 7 is actually very similar to number 8. So if you didn't know how to do number 8, now I'm going to give you a problem that is actually harder. So we have this one right here. Let's go back to our formula here. I have to use this formula here. A times B is equal to CD. So once again, A times B is equal to C times D. Okay? It doesn't really matter on this one which one you define as A and B, as long as they're the same. So if this is A, this will be B. You could also do this. This could also be A, but this will be B. What you cannot do is this. If this is A, this should not be B. That is wrong, because it should be on the same line. Okay? If you look at the formula, A goes with B, it's the same line, and then C goes with D, it's the same line right there. So be careful with that. So A goes with B, and then C goes with D. Since you're multiplying them each other, A times B is the same as B times A. That doesn't matter. Okay? So let's solve this problem. We have A, which is 7, times, I'm going to put parentheses in there because I have an x plus 3. So I have to multiply by everything. X plus 3 right there is equal to, well, C in this case is x plus 5. And then D is 6. Okay, so I have 7x plus 21 is equal to 6x. All I'm doing, guys, is distributing 6 times 5 will be 30. Now let's go ahead and solve this round. Subtract 6s on both sides, you get x on this side. Subtract 21 on both sides, you get 9 on this side. Okay, so that means that x is equal to 9. If you want to verify that, go ahead and do it on a piece of paper and just subtract the 6x and the 21, and you will see that you actually get 9. But I just did it on my head because I do want to save some time on the algebra. Okay. Number 12 and 13, very similar. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do number 14 because that's the one that looks different. Okay, so number 14 here, I'm going to look at my formula sheet and I'm going to see which one is the one that I have to use. Okay, so if I look at my formula sheet, it's like no, 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 oh, yes, that looks very similar. So notice that the A goes with the B and the C goes with the D. So that's what you have to understand when you do this formula. A goes with B, and then C goes with D. They're on the same line. I did a little bit different, but it's the same thing really, guys. Yeah, this actually, hold on, I'm just looking again at the formula. It's actually B and then A. Sorry, I wasn't very careful here. And then it's C and then D. Okay, that's better. The formula is the following. I'm just going to write it down from the formula sheet. A plus B is equal to D times C plus D. Okay, so B in this case is 9. A in this case, okay, is x plus 6. B is 9. D in this case will be 8. C in this case is 2x plus 1. And then D, once again, is 8. So, once again, guys, this is my B, this is my A right there, this is my B. Okay, so just, simplify as much as possible. We got 6 plus 9, that's going to be 15. And then we have 1 plus 8 will be 9. Okay, distribute. We'll get 9x plus 15 times 9 will be 135. And then 8 times 2 is 16x. And 8 times 9 will be 72. Let me subtract 9x on both sides so that I get 7x is equal to, and let me subtract 72 from both sides so that all of that cancels. 135 minus 72 is equal to 63 divided by 7. I like it when I get integers because that tells me, hey, this is probably right, because after doing all that work you got an integer. That probably means that you got it right. So x is equal to 9 on that one right there. So I go ahead and did that one for you. And 11. 12, 13 is very similar to 11. Okay, let's do 15 now. 15 and 16 are very similar. The formula for this one here, and I'm looking at the formula sheet with my other calculator or my other computer. I do recommend that you print this out if you have a printer, because it helps so much. So I'm using the formula for 2 secants. So we have B, then A plus B is equal to D, C plus D. That is my formula. Again, the B goes with the A, and then the C goes with the D. Okay, so the B in this case is X, the A in this case is 15. The B in this case will be X, is equal to, the D in this case is 8. The C will be 19. The D will be 8. In this one, you're going to notice something very interesting. When we distribute the X, this is what we're going to get. We're going to get 15X plus X times X is going to be X squared. Okay, and then let's simplify that. We got 19 plus 8 is 27 times 8 is going to be 216. Here's what we're gonna, this is how this one, it's a little bit more difficult than the other ones. Let's bring this guy over, and you're gonna notice that you have a quadratic. We have x squared plus 15x minus 216 is equal to 0. So we have a quadratic formula right there. And usually, guys, when we do this, we usually use factoring, and we use factoring in order to do this. What I want you to do, though, for this round, because I don't want you to expend so much time on the algebra, what I want you to do is use a calculator or a quadratic formula calculator. So here's what you're gonna do. If I go to Google, I'm gonna look in Google, and I'm gonna look for quadratic formula. What is it? It has quadratic equation solver. Let's try that one. And then in here, let's see. No, I don't like that one. Let's try this one here. What do you want to calculate? I want to calculate the quadratic formula here. This right here. So here's what you type in: x, and you have to put the little cap right there, 2 plus 15x, and if you were in an algebra class, this will be considered cheating, but since we're not in an algebra class, this is a geometry class, and we just want to focus on the algebra, because I don't want you to be spending so much time on the algebra when you already went through the algebra. It's equal to 0. You click on calculate, and here's where you have to be very careful. You're gonna get 2 answers. Okay, in here they use the quadratic formula, which is great. You can do that, although, you know, they're doing it step by step, which is great. And you're gonna get 2 answers: x is equal to 9 and x is equal to negative 24. So my answer here was x is equal to 9 or x is equal to negative 24. here's the problem, guys. Now when you're dealing with segments, okay, this right here cannot be negative. You cannot have a negative answer for this. You simply cannot, because you're talking about lengths, okay? We're talking about distance. Distance cannot be negative. So since I got a negative answer here, I'm gonna take that one out. That is not correct. So my final answer will be x is equal to 9. Okay? Alright. So that's what I wanted to show you. I don't want you to be spending so much time on the algebra. Later when you go back to algebra 2, yes, you are going to have to do all this once again manually. The way we will solve this one will be like this. Oh, you will factor, hey, x minus 9 is equal to x plus 24. And then you factor it, and then you get x equal to 9 and x equal to negative 24. Yes, you can do that, but at the same time, I want you to concentrate on the geometry, and this is already hard as it is, and I don't want the algebra to make it more complicated than what it is. Okay, you're going to be using the same thing for number 16. Let's take a look at number 17 here. Okay, the formula, once again, where you're going to be using the two secant ones. We have that this is B, this is A, this is our C, and this is our B, or not B, or D. So the way I set it up is like this. Well, the formula is B times A plus B is equal to D times C plus D. Okay, the B in this case is X, the A in this case is 6, the B in this case is X. We are going to get a quadratic right here. The D is 5, the C is 3, and the D is 5. So we're going to get 6x plus x squared is equal to 5 times 3 plus 5 is 8 times 5 is 40. Now on this one, we actually can do it faster than the calculator, than typing it in. Okay, we can factor this one. This one is very easy to factor. It will be, let's see, I did something wrong here. Now let's see, let's do x minus, or x minus, actually, so x minus 4 and x plus 10, that works. Okay, as you can see, we factor that one very easily, and x is equal to 4, x is equal to negative 10. This is not gonna work, so my final answer will be 4. Okay, so on that one, because it was easy, it would have probably taken me longer to do it on this application here, and that's not what I want. Okay. Okay, let's take a look at this one here. This one's are gonna get a little bit more challenging. We're gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to my formula sheet, and I already know this one here. It's B, and then A plus B is equal to D plus C plus D. Okay, that is my formula, and then I'm gonna put the numbers in there and the letters. We got A and B. Actually, I want to do A and B just to make it look nicer. And then we have D and then C. Actually backwards. And all I'm doing, guys, is I'm looking at the formula sheet as I'm doing this. Okay? Alright, so the b in this case is x minus 3. The a is x minus 1. The b, once again, is x minus 3 is equal to, the d is 5, the c is 3, and the d is, once again, 5 one more time. Okay, now let's simplify this. We have x minus 3, x plus x is going to be 2x. Okay, negative 1 plus negative 3 is going to be negative 4 is equal to 3 plus 5 is 8 times 5 is 40. We could at this point distribute, so x times 2x is 2x squared, and then x times negative 4 is going to be negative 4x. Then 3 times negative 3 times 2x is going to be negative 6x. And then negative 3 times negative 4 is going to be 12. Combine like terms. And then I'm going to bring this 40 over, so subtract 40 on both sides. So 12 minus 40 will be negative 28. It's equal to 0. Since those are all even numbers, guys, what you could do on that one is divide everything by 2. So I get x squared minus 5x minus 14 is equal to 0. It's not always going to work that way, but I'm happy that it did for this one here. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and try to factor this. Okay, and the factors should be x minus 7 and x plus 2. That means that x is equal to 7 and x is equal to negative 2, but like we said, guys, this will not work, so my only answer could be 7. Okay, all right, so I know these ones are a little bit more challenging, but it's fun trying to do them for you, half of them. Okay, let's do this one here. I'm actually gonna do number 22 because it does look harder than 21. So that way I'm doing the harder ones for you and you do the ones that look a little bit easier. So on this one here, I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at my formula sheet one more time. As you can see, when I go back to my formula sheet here, I look and I say, hey, you know what? This one is the one that seems to work on that one there, the 2 chords. Okay, so we're going to be using that formula right there. So A times B is equal to C times D. So in this case, the A goes with the B and the C goes with the D. Okay, they're always on the same line. So the A, and I'm going, since I have 2 plus x, I'm going to be using parentheses. So I have 2 plus x times b. In this case, b is 2x plus 2 is equal to 5 times 12. Okay, now I'm gonna go ahead and distribute. We have 2 times 2 is gonna be 4x, and then 2 times 2 is gonna be 4. And we have x times 2x is going to be 2x squared, and then x times 2 is going to be 2x as well. 5 times 12 will be 60. Okay, let's simplify this. I'm gonna put the 2x squared first. Then we have 4x plus 2x is gonna be 6x. And then let's bring this 60 over to that side. So, and I'm gonna subtract it with this 4. So 60, so 4 minus 60 is gonna be negative 56. Is equal to 0. Notice that those are all even numbers. Okay, since they're all even numbers, I'm going to divide all of them by 2. So here's what I get. I get x squared, and I divide by 2, 3x, and this one, 56, divided by 2 should be negative 28. Now, like I said, you can use this thing right here, but I feel like it's a lot easier on this one specifically to just use division, or I'm sorry, use factoring, especially if you're pretty good at factoring. Okay, so if I factor this one, okay, I need two numbers that when I multiply them together I get negative 28, but when I add them I get 3. Okay, so think about that. When I multiply them, okay, I know that it should be 4 times 7, okay, where the 4 should be negative, okay, and that means that x is equal to 4 or x is equal to negative 7. But of course we already said that that will not work, so that means that this will be the only answer. So you're gonna put on canvas 4 for number 22. Okay, we're almost there, guys, we're almost there. Okay, let's make it a little bit more difficult. We are now finding the measurement of JK. So this guy from here to here. Okay, now it's the same process, really, same process. All we're doing extra is that after we find x, we have to plug in x into there and that gives us the answer. But it's technically the same process, okay? So in here, I'm gonna look at my formula sheet and I'm gonna look for something that looks similar to that. As you can see, those are two chords. So the formula that I need is this one right here. A times B is equal to C times D. So I go back to my formula and say, hey, C, A times B, and I'm gonna pull it up on my other computer here, my formula sheet. You know, I always, even as a teacher, I'm like, I'm not gonna memorize this. What's the point? So all I do is I look at the formula sheet and I say, hey, the formula sheet says that A times B is equal to C times D. For me, in math, it's all about knowing how to use the resources, okay? So let's just say that this is A, then this will be B, then this will be C, and this will be D. So A in this case will be x plus 1, and then B will be x plus 2. And then C and D will be 15 times 6. Let's multiply. So we got x times x is x squared. X times 2x is 2x right there. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times 2 is 2. 15 times 6 is 90. Combine like terms, we have this plus this. It's going to be 3x. I'm going to bring this 90 over. That will be 2 minus 90 will be negative 88. It's equal to 0. Once again, try to factor. If you know how to factor, please do your best, because factoring, it will go a lot faster, honestly. This one I can see that if I factor this, it would be x plus 11 and x minus 8. Okay, see, I was able to figure that out without having to use technology. So factoring, sometimes it goes a lot faster. Okay, that means that x is equal to negative 11 or x is equal to 8. Okay, but of course, guys, this will not be the right answer. It will have to be in this one right here. But again, we are finding jk. Jk is right there. So we have to plug in that answer that we got into there right there. So we have 8 plus 2 is going to give us that final answer that we need, which is going to be 10. All right, I'll have you do number 24. Remember, you are looking for the segment. So after you find x, you're going to give me what this is right here. Okay, number 25, just let's do 2 more pounds and then we will be done. Okay, again, I'm going to look at my formula sheet and I'm going to say, hey, which one is the formula that I need? In this case, if I look at the formula sheet, I'm going to look for one that looks very similar to that one, and that will be 2 secants. Okay, the formula is right there. So let me go back to my formula sheet, and I'm going to say, hey, we have 2 secants right there, so the formula for that is b, and then a plus b is equal to d c plus d. Okay, so let's figure out what a and b is. Well, this right here, if I look at the formula sheet, the a is always inside, and then this will be the b, and then we have our d, and then we have our c. Let's plug all that into the formula and let's try to get this right. So b in this case will be x minus 3, and I do like to put parentheses in there. The a in this case will be x minus 1. The b is x minus 3 is equal to, well, d, okay, is 4, c plus d, so it's 2 plus 4, that will be 6. So I added those 2 already and I got 6, because I don't have a lot of space, so that's why I did that. Alright, so we got x minus 3. Let's add this one plus this guy and you get 2x. Now we have negative 1 plus negative 3, that will be negative 4. Is equal to 4 times 6, which is 24. Okay, now let's go ahead and multiply. We have x times 2x is going to be 2x squared. We have negative 4 times x is going to be negative 4x. Negative 3 times 2 is going to be negative 6x. And then negative 3 times negative 4 is going to be positive 12. Combine like terms. This plus this will be negative 10x. Bring that 24 over to this side and it will become a negative. Negative 24 plus 12 is going to be negative 12. As you can see, all those are even numbers. So that means I'm able to divide all of those by 2. So when I divide them by 2, here is what I get. Okay, I get x squared minus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. Okay, you can easily factor this, very easily. We got x minus 3 I'm sorry, not x minus 3, x minus 6 and x plus 1. That makes more sense. So that means x is equal to 6 or x is equal to negative 1, but as we said, this will not work. So x is equal to 6 right there. Of course, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the f. So the whole thing right there, that's interesting. So if we're looking for the whole thing from d f right there, that means that I have to plug it in there. So 6 minus 1 will be 5, and then 6 minus 3 will be 3, and 3 plus 5 will be 8 as your final answer. So what I did there, I just plugged in 6 into the x, and then I got those numbers, and then I added those two together, and that gave me my final answer. All right, final one. I'm actually going to do number 28 now, and that'll be the last round, because 28 looks a little bit more challenging than 27, but they're okay. You know, once again, I have I'm gonna use the appropriate formula. I'm gonna see which one is the one that I have to use. As you can see, we have 2 chords right there. Okay, 2 chords. We're gonna be using that formula right there. The formula says that I have to multiply A times B is equal to C times D. So in this case, we have to identify what's the A and what's the B. We have A and B, and then C, and then D. So the A will be 4x, and I'm going to use parentheses. The B will be 3x plus 3 is equal to, well, C times D. 10 times 24 will be 240. Let's go ahead and multiply. 4x times 3x will be 12x squared, and then 4x times 3 will also be 12x. It's equal to 240. So I have 12x squared plus 12x minus 240 is equal to 0. On this one, something that you can realize very easily is that 240 is actually divisible by 12, because 240 divided by 12 is 20. So what I'm gonna do in here to deal with that 12 on the middle, I'm gonna divide everything by 12. So I'm gonna get x squared, and that's gonna simplify the problem so much. 240 divided by 12 is gonna be 20, or negative 20 actually. Now all I have to do is factor this guy, which is actually very easy as well to do. Notice that I haven't used that app anymore, because for me, factoring is so much easier, and it's so much faster, guys. This will be x plus 5, this will be x minus 4. Okay, that means x is either negative 5 or x is equal to positive 4. Okay, of course that is not the final answer, because that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for km. Okay, what is km? Well, it's very simple to find that. First of all, for the one that we need, we can't use this one. We need x equal to 4. 4 times 4 is going to be 16 for this one. 3 times 4 is going to be 12 plus 3 is going to be 15. And then 15 plus 16, that's going to be 31. And that is your final and ultimate answer. Okay, so for you to do the homework in here, all that you have to do is 27, 26, 24, and then 21, 20, 18, 16, 13, 12, 10, 8, 6, and then 2 and 4. Okay, so again, you're going to be doing half of the problems. That's just 14 problems that you get to do. Okay, I'll see you guys on the next video.